Hi everyone, so for this week's video I wanted to start a little video series that I'm going to be doing on my advice for drama school auditions. So I auditioned for 2 years because I did a foundation before my degree. So I auditioned for my foundation course, and then obviously while I was on my foundation course I auditioned for degree courses. When I was going through the process I would have really loved something like this to watch, so I thought I would make a little series of my advice for drama school auditions because that season is coming up. I thought for this week I would start with singing advice. So this is not just literally advice for how you get up and sing, but everything surrounding it. It's such a minefield and you don't realise how much there is until you start auditioning. So the first thing to keep in mind is every audition will ask for specific requirements for singing. So most of the time for MT courses, they will ask you for 2 contrasting songs, which very often is one legit song, which is usually pre-1965 ballad kind of vibe, and then one contemporary contrasting. Naturally, it's usually a legit ballad versus an up-tempo contemporary. Sometimes they'll specify not, but if they don't specify, that's what I would go with. I made the mistake in my first year auditioning of picking a pre-1965 up-tempo. It was in the time period, but they care so much more about the style than the actual time period. So what they actually look for most of the time when they're asking for a legit song is more of a ballad. So I thought in this little section I would do a couple of recommendations just to get you thinking about the kind of things that I think are right for drama school auditions. Obviously everyone is different and you really want to showcase your voice, your individual selling point. And if you know that you've got something that you are like, oh, that's my thing, then go with that. So starting with legit ballads, I've got Before I Gaze at You Again from Camelot, which was my legit ballad this last year. It's really nice, it's a lovely song, it's not too challenging, but it does show off a bit of vocal range. Next we've got My White Knight from The Music Man, which is more for soprano voices. It really lends itself to acting through song, which is very much needed for auditions. Then I thought I'd just include a few not soprano-y ballads because sometimes an audition won't ask for that. So my one that I was talking about before that I did my first year of auditioning was called How Can I Wait from Paint Your Wagon, and I absolutely love this song. Now when I then got to drama school and I told my private singing teacher that that's why I did my audition, they were like, that is not what they're looking for if they are purely asking for a pre-1965 legit song. They are mostly looking for a ballad. However, if they do state that they want an up-tempo legit or a character legit, then this would work. This also would work if you wanted to take, for example, Before I Gaze at You Again as your main choice, and then if they ask you in the room, do you have anything else? And then if you have this in your back pocket, it adds something a little bit different. A legit choice for altos, because This Is Me is So In Love from Kiss Me Kate. It still has a really nice amount of range, but it really shows off the lower register if that is something that you are really good at and you want to show that. Now for a couple of contemporary options. The first year of my auditions, I did Lost in the Brass from Band Geeks, which I still think is a great audition song. The year I did it, it became so popular and suddenly everyone was doing it. Like, I walked into the audition and the pianist was like, oh, I've played this 5 times already today. However, if it really shows you off, as long as you give it some and you don't let it blend into the 5 other performances they've already seen that day, I say it's worth it. So that's Lost in the Brass from Band Geeks. It's very like awkward, nerdy. So if you're castable as that, for me, I personally am. Like when I go to auditions, I've got my big glasses, I wear flowery dungarees, I'm very small, so, and I look fairly young. And so I know that a lot of my casting type is like the young, cute child and like awkward child. And so that's why I lean into it with that song. Another really important thing that I just forgot to mention is when you're picking your songs, do pay attention to playing age. They do prefer you to sing something that is close to your own age. So you want something like Band Geeks, which is about a high schooler. She's teenage. It works really well. Another choice, and this again fairly well done, is Astonishing from Little Women. Again, I will just say if it works for you, it works for you. Don't overthink the overdone thing, because I really did. And then when I went to auditions, I heard people's choices and I was like, oh, they're really overdone, because I'd been told to stay away from them. And then they do really well. and they get in. Astonishing is such a good storytelling piece, and vocally it's really impressive. It's got that massive belt. It's a really good choice, and again, age-wise, it's kind of perfect. Another up-tempo contemporary is Right Hand Man from Something Rotten. It's just more of a character song, so maybe if you're legit, option is very much a golden age woman singing about a man she's in love with, which so many of those songs are, and you want to show a contrast. Right Hand Man is something a little bit different. Pretty funny from Dogfight. It's such a beautiful storytelling piece, and I think it's a really nice contemporary option for non-belters, because again, the same as with legit, how people are like, oh, you have to be this amazing operatic soprano. With contemporary, a lot of people are like, you have to be a belter and a mixer. Pretty Funny is a really good option. Also, Nothing Short of Wonderful from the same musical, from Dogfight, is a really nice up-tempo choice. Finally, another ballady contemporary. We've got After All of This and Everything from Freaky Friday, which was my contemporary ballad choice. My contemporaries were all up-tempo, and then I got an audition where they specifically asked for a contemporary ballad. This was my choice, and I really love this song. It's not done very often at all. A lot of time people do Parents Lie from Freaky Friday, but After All of This and Everything is a really nice choice. Next thing I'm going to talk about is cutting your music. Make sure you cut your music, because a panel will not take kindly to you if they have asked for a 2-minute cut and you sing the whole 4.5-minute song. My advice for this, make sure you're clear on whether they have asked for a cut. A lot of the time it will be a 2-minute, sometimes a 1.5-minute, whatever they want. If they don't give a cut, I do think prepare the whole song, however, have a 2-minute cut with you, and maybe even ask them when you go in the room, hi, I've got the entire song, I'm happy to do that. However, if you would prefer a 2-minute cut, I've also got that, and just be prepared for both options. With preparing cuts, make sure to make it really clear in your music. Always use pencil. Okay, so this is my copy of Lost in the Brass. So if you were to cut it, all you would need to do was draw a pencil line from there to there. If you were cutting that one bar, that's it. You just diagonally across the bar. And then to make it really, really clear for your pianist, what I do is add a square bracket to say start of cut, square bracket at the end, right end of cut. I'll get onto interactions with the pianist in a minute, but do always go over and make sure that they understand your cut. Don't feel afraid to ask, oh, I've never, because a lot of the time before an audition you might not have the opportunity to sing your cut through with a pianist, and so they won't mind if you respectfully ask, would you mind just playing that cut so that I can hear what it sounds like in the piano? They should be absolutely fine with that. This is a piece of taped sheet music. It just has a little piece of tape at the top, a little piece of tape in the middle, and a little piece of tape at the bottom between each page. Some auditions may specify how they would like their music, some may not. If they don't, it's completely up to you. Another option is a rep folder. Now, I prefer these. I don't like taped music, and also my drama school that I'm currently at aren't really a fan of taped music, so they will always ask for a rep folder. The other option, if you don't have a rep folder, is to use a ring binder folder and just use plastic wallets, because again, that makes it really nice and easy for the pianist to just flip the page over. One thing I will say is, unless specified, and I've never seen it specified, don't take your music on an iPad. It's becoming a thing, and like at my drama school, my pianist is perfectly fine with using an iPad. Once you're at drama school, that's acceptable. However, for an audition, I would never go with an iPad. I wouldn't risk it. I feel like it looks really unprepared. Unless they have said in the email, you can bring sheet music on an iPad, then go for it. But I just feel like with that, so much can go wrong as well. Like if you're taking your personal iPad, it could lock. If you're relying on Wi-Fi, that could be a problem. You could be getting notifications while the pianist is trying to play. Like, I would just play it safe and go with a rep folder or taped sheet music. Another thing that you need to be aware of in your singing audition is they may ask you questions about your song. They may ask you questions about where's the character right now? What's just happened in the musical before this? Regardless of whether they ask you or not, you should know that stuff because it will really help inform your performance. How are you going to act through a song if you don't know what the character's going through? Things I think it's really important to know about your songs is what musical they're from, of course, who composed the musical, know the context, know who you're playing, how old they are, know about the character, and know the context that the song actually takes place in. So know what's just happened, what's about to happen, and understand the character's objective, what they're trying to get out of the song. Why are they singing? Why have they opened their mouth? What has just happened that has caused them to sing? That's really important information to know. It's better to give too much information than not enough. Another important thing to just double check is that your sheet music is in the right key. A lot of the time, if you're especially looking for free sheet music online, it might not be in the original key, and if you're not particularly musical, the best thing to do is find someone that is and listen to the backing track, or I listen to the original song on Spotify that I am rehearsing with, and I'll listen out for the starting note or like the starting phrase, and then I will go to the sheet music, I will find the note, and I will make sure that that phrase is the same, make sure that it's starting in the same key. With what to wear in a singing audition, I don't think there's a formula for it. I think I've seen people wear all sorts of different things. Some people go straight in after the dance audition and they put joggers on over their leotard and that's their outfit. I would stray away from that. That's the one thing that I'd be like, maybe don't do, because it doesn't showcase you. I have an audition outfit, which is a pair of flowery dungarees and a nice white top. So pick an outfit that you feel like really shows you. So that's why there's no real formula for it, because some people that might be a beautiful flowery dress and some character heels. Some people it might be a pair of really nice jeans, some trainers. It really depends who you are, and as long as you're getting across who you are, it's not that you have to wear a character skirt and character heels. As long as you find an outfit that you feel comfortable in and you feel like shows off who you are, maybe play a little bit into your songs if you know. I mean, it's hard if you're singing two songs, but particularly if you have a favourite song. So for me, Lost in the Brass was my favourite audition song. I kind of dressed for that character, but that also naturally happened because I dressed for me and that character suits me and the kind of character I would play. So if you're being authentic to yourself, it should kind of come naturally, but be careful not to sing a very cutesy song and wear an outfit that looks like it could be in a Fosse musical. Okay, last couple pieces of advice. So when you actually go into the room, a lot of people forget to greet the pianist, and this is very important that you remember. In an audition room in the industry, the pianist might be the MD. The pianist in a drama school audition, maybe the head of singing. Regardless of whether or not they have influence, it's polite, it's respectful. They're not just there to accompany you, you are duetting with them essentially. You will learn as you go into the industry how crucial musicians are and how much more respect they deserve than they are given. Always remember to greet the pianist as well as the panel. The panel will often give you the choice, if there's two songs, of which song you'd like to sing first. Now, this is difficult because sometimes they won't make it clear whether or not they're going to hear one or both songs, because sometimes a lot of the time they don't know themselves. They might hear one song and they think, that was nice, but I really want to hear if she can do another style. Sometimes they'll say, we only have time to hear one song. In that case, know which one is your favourite. Don't waste time. Don't waste their time or your time looking indecisive. That being said, also go in that room knowing if they're going to hear both songs, which one am I going to do first, which one am I going to end on. It's completely up to you. Personally, for me, I would always sing my contemporary first because I know that it shows me off better than legit does. And so just in case they have that thing of, oh, we've heard it, we don't really have time, or we've heard all we need to know, there's always that risk that they'll only hear one song. And I think just go for it. Go in there with your main style. Now, when you go over to the pianist, once you've greeted the panel and you've said, hello, this is what I'm going to sing, a lot of the time they will ask you, so know the name of your song, know the composer, know the musical. Go over to your pianist. Number one rule with putting your music down is do not put it down for them. A lot of people make this mistake. Pretty sure I probably made it at some point, but it's seen as really rude to put your music on the piano for them. So always physically give them the music. Again, if they haven't specified whether they want taped or folded, sometimes you can take both in. If you take in a rep folder, for example, you might have the taped one in the back of the rep folder. You can ask them and you say, I've got taped and in a folder, what would you prefer? It's up to you, but you're never going to get in trouble if you go in with one or the other if they haven't specified what they prefer. Next thing, once they have seen the cut, always make sure to go over the cut with them, ask if it's all okay. It very rarely happens that a pianist just doesn't look through the music. Like usually they'll look through it, especially in auditions, because some people might not know how to mark up their music properly, so they want to get to grips with what they're playing. But just make sure, for your sake as well as theirs, because you don't want it to mess up your audition if you've accidentally written a cut wrong, or they've not understood something properly. And so you just want to go through it and make sure that you're both on the same page and they're going to play your music exactly how you're expecting it. Always give a tempo. Some pianists won't ask you for a tempo, so I would always go in, and if they don't ask, I would always say, please, can I give you a tempo? I wouldn't ask, would you like a tempo? Because sometimes then they'll say no, and then you don't know what tempo they're going to play at. So I would always ask, please, can I give you a tempo? It shows a sense of professionalism, and it also will put you at ease with they're not going to play it too fast or too slow. When giving your tempo, do not clap and do not click. These are both seen as rude. This is stuff that I had never heard before going into an audition room, and I probably did it. Listen, they're probably not going to care that much, but having done a foundation and being given so much audition advice, this is really drilled into you to be polite in the room and understand the etiquette of an audition. So don't clap your tempo, don't clip your tempo. A lot of the time you can just lightly tap the tempo out on your thigh or on here, whatever. If you don't really find it easy to kind of tap out the tempo, then you can start singing it. You can kind of give them the first line in the right tempo, and they'll kind of be able to pick it up from there. But yeah, no clapping, no clicking. Another thing to keep in mind is what you're going to do in your introduction or in an instrumental break in the song. A lot of songs will have quite a long introduction, which you have the option to cut if you want, or an instrumental break in the middle, which again you can cut, or you can use it as a moment to show off your acting through song. It's very easy to kind of stand there and be like, oh, this introduction is so long, and then, oh, I'm singing, I'm going to act now. So do plan out what you're going to do in that time. The final thing I'm going to say is just a little bit of advice for any type of performance, really. I am going to talk about this in the acting bit as well. Don't feel pressure to start straight away. Number one, it looks like you're scared. Number two, you don't have time to breathe, which is very important for singing. And number three, you don't have time to mentally prepare yourself and put yourself in the character's mindset, which is really important for performing. So you give the pianist your music, you walk back to the center, you look at the panel, you smile at the panel. They'll probably say, whenever you're ready. And then, hoping that the pianist waits for you, you will be able to give the pianist a nod whenever you're ready. So take your time before you give that pianist your nod, and just take one deep breath. You don't need to look at the panel. This is your time to get into the zone, get into character. Remind yourself of all the advice you've been given about this song. Think about your vocal technique. This is your time to just take that moment. And then once you've done that, you can look over at the pianist, give them your nod, and there you go. You can start. So that is all of my advice with drama school singing auditions. If you have any questions, please do pop them below and I will try to answer as much as I can. And that goes as well for the dance part or the acting part or anything generally about drama school auditions. Please feel free to ask. But that ties up everything for the singing audition. So I hope that has made lots of sense. And please, if anybody's doing auditions, let me know. Let me know where. I'll let you know if I have any specific advice for those places, because I auditioned everywhere my first year. I literally did as many auditions as I could. So I know quite a bit about quite a bit of drama school auditions. So thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely week and I'll see you next time.